I'm Carol Mitchell, 34, standing awkwardly by the refreshment table at my sister Becky's baby shower. 5 years since I left Willow Creek for Chicago. And my family still only sees my unmarried status, not my marketing career success. Mom flashes that disappointed smile while arranging pink balloons. Becky approaches with that mocking grin I know too well. If they only knew what I've been hiding. The doorbell will ring soon, changing everything. Before I continue this story, where are you watching from? Hit that like button and subscribe to see more family drama unfolds that will leave you speechless. Growing up in Willow Creek, Pennsylvania, meant everyone knew everyone's business. Our town had one main street, 3 churches, and endless expectations. In the Mitchell family hierarchy, my position was always clear, second best. My sister Becky was the golden child from the moment she was born with her perfect blonde curls and sweet temperament. I was the ambitious one. The one with unrealistic expectations, as my mother Eleanor would say with a tight smile at community gatherings. Our childhood home on Maple Avenue became the stage for countless scenes of subtle favoritism. When Becky brought home B's on her report card, Mom would make her favorite chocolate chip cookies. When I brought home straight A's, I'd get a distracted "that's nice, dear" while Mom focused on planning Becky's dance recital costume. Dad was different. Robert Mitchell, with his kind eyes and patient demeanor, would sneak into my room after dinner with a small gift, a bookmark, a notebook, once even a second-hand camera when I expressed interest in photography. "Don't let anyone dim your light, Carol," he'd whisper. Dad's sudden heart attack 7 years ago removed my only ally in the family. I still remember Mom and Becky huddled together at the funeral, while I stood slightly apart, feeling like an intruder in my own family's grief. That was the beginning of the real fracture. When I announced my plan to move to Chicago for a marketing position at Anderson and Burke, Mom's response was predictable. "But what about settling down here? Mark Edwards has always had his eye on you." Mark Edwards, who had never left Willow Creek and worked at his father's insurance agency, was apparently my best prospect according to Eleanor Mitchell. "I have a master's degree in marketing, Mom. This is an amazing opportunity," I had explained, trying to keep my voice level. "Degrees don't keep you warm at night," she had replied, while looking fondly at Becky, who had just announced her engagement to James, her high school sweetheart. The day I left for Chicago, Becky hugged me awkwardly and whispered, "I don't understand why you'd want to leave, but good luck, I guess." It wasn't malicious, that was Becky. She genuinely couldn't comprehend a life path different from her own. 5 years passed with minimal contact. Christmas cards, obligatory monthly phone calls that grew increasingly shorter, and the occasional text message. I built my life in Chicago piece by piece. My apartment overlooking Lake Michigan became my sanctuary. My career flourished as I moved up at Anderson and Burke, eventually leading their digital marketing division. But there was so much more to my life that my family knew nothing about. Then came the email from Becky 3 months ago. Subject line, "Baby on the way." The message was brief, gushing with excitement about her pregnancy, James's promotion, and the nursery they were planning. The last line stung. "It would mean so much if you could come home for the baby shower. Mom says it's been too long, and we need to see your face before you become an aunt." An aunt. The word hit me harder than expected. Standing in my Chicago kitchen, staring at that email, I made a decision that would change everything. The baby shower venue was exactly what I expected, the Willow Creek Community Center's main hall, decorated in various shades of pink. Aunt Patricia, Mom's older sister, greeted me with a warm hug when I arrived. "Look at you, city girl. You're glowing," she exclaimed, examining me at arm's length. I always liked Aunt Patricia. She had traveled before settling down, had opinions that sometimes scandalized the conservative town, and seemed to genuinely appreciate my ambition. She was the only family member who had visited me in Chicago, though she never mentioned these trips to Mom or Becky. Cousin Rachel was there too, with her 3 children running circles around her legs. "Carol, I can't believe you're actually here," she said, genuine surprise in her voice as she attempted to corral her youngest. These monsters keep me so busy I barely leave the house. You're lucky you're free to come and go as you please. The word free hung in the air like an accusation. Freedom versus family, the eternal dichotomy according to Willow Creek. Becky's best friend Megan was directing the present table with military precision. She'd never liked me, always believing I thought myself too good for her hometown. "Oh, Carol, didn't expect you'd make it," she said with a plastic smile. "You can put your gift there with the others. Becky's going to be opening them after lunch." I placed my carefully wrapped package among the others. Inside was a handcrafted silver baby bracelet from an artisan I'd discovered in Chicago, with space to engrave the baby's name and birth date. I'd spent weeks choosing it, wanting to show I cared despite the distance. As more guests arrived, I retreated to a corner, watching Mom fuss over Becky, who was resplendent in a pale pink maternity dress, her baby bump prominently displayed. She was beautiful, glowing with that special radiance of expectant mothers. For a moment, seeing them together, I felt a familiar pang, not jealousy exactly, but a deep-seated sadness about what had always been missing between my mother and me. Taking a deep breath, I squared my shoulders and prepared to face the afternoon of subtle jabs and probing questions about my personal life. What I wasn't prepared for was how much worse it would be than I'd imagined. "Carol, you actually made it." Becky's voice carried across the room as she waddled toward me, hands resting on her baby bump. The gathered women turned to look at me, curiosity and judgment mixing in their expressions. These were women who had known me since childhood, who had watched me leave and speculated about why I hadn't returned. "Wouldn't miss it," I replied, leaning in to hug my sister awkwardly around her pregnant belly. She smelled like the same strawberry shampoo she'd used since high school. "Let me look at you," she said, stepping back. "Still as thin as ever. Some things never change. Must be nice not having to worry about pregnancy weight." Her comment was delivered with a smile, but the implication was clear. "You look beautiful, Becky. Pregnancy suits you," I said sincerely. Mrs. Peterson, my former English teacher, approached with a glass of punch. "Carol Mitchell, what a surprise to see you. We were just talking about how Becky is carrying on the family tradition, starting her family right here in Willow Creek. You're still in Chicago then? Not married yet?" Before I could answer, Becky jumped in. "Oh, Carol's married to her job, aren't you, sis? No time for dating when you're climbing the corporate ladder." She laughed, linking her arm through mine as if we were sharing an inside joke. "My career is going well, yes," I said carefully. "But I'm not all work." "She sends the most interesting Christmas cards," Mom added, joining our circle. Just Carol standing in front of different Chicago landmarks. No boyfriend, no family pictures like normal people send. A faint heat crept up my neck. "I thought you'd like seeing the city, Mom. Well, it would be nice to see you settling down one of these days." "You're what now? 34? Mom patted my arm. "Not getting any younger, dear." Megan clapped her hands, saving me from responding. "Ladies, time for baby shower games. Everyone to the center table, please." The first game involved guessing the circumference of Becky's pregnant belly using yarn. When my turn came, I significantly underestimated, causing raucous laughter. "Carol has no idea about pregnancy bodies," Becky giggled. "That's what happens when you're the last single woman in the room." I forced a smile, ignoring the fact that at least 3 other women present were unmarried. Somehow, my singleness was considered worthy of special attention. The next game was worse, a version of Who Knows Mommy Best, with questions about Becky. When I got most answers wrong, Becky sighed dramatically. "I guess that's what happens when you only call once a month and visit every 5 years." No one mentioned that phone calls work both ways, or that I'd invited Becky to Chicago multiple times, only to be told it was too far or too expensive despite my offers to pay. I excused myself to use the restroom, pulling out my phone once safely behind the locked door. I sent a quick text. "They're worse than I expected. You sure about this?" The response came immediately, "On our way. ETA 30 minutes. Love you." I took a deep breath, splashed water on my face, and returned to the party. The gift-opening ceremony was about to begin, with Becky seated in a decorated chair like a queen on her throne. Before we start, Becky announced, "I just want to thank everyone for coming to celebrate this special time with us, especially my sister Carol, who managed to tear herself away from her important Chicago life to be with family for once." She gave an exaggerated wink as several guests chuckled. I maintained my smile, though it felt increasingly brittle. Becky opened gift after gift, onesies, baby blankets, toys, and practical items that were received with appropriate oohs and ahs. When she reached my silver bracelet, she barely looked at it before passing it to Mom. "Very nice," Mom said flatly, placing it aside without showing it around like she had with the handmade quilt from Mrs. Wilson or the baby monitor from Aunt Patricia. "It's sterling silver," I explained, "from an artisan in Chicago. You can have the baby's name and birth date engraved once she arrives." "How fancy," Becky said with a tight smile. "I hope she doesn't lose it at daycare." After the gifts, while refreshments were being served, Becky cornered me by the dessert table. She was holding a plate with 3 cupcakes. "So, seriously," she said, lowering her voice, "not even dating anyone? At your age?" "My age," I repeated, trying to keep my tone light. "You make 34 sound ancient." "Well, it's not young in the baby department," she said, patting her belly. "TikTok and all that. I'm just concerned for you, sis. Don't you want what I have? A husband, a family on the way roots." Before I could answer, Mom joined us, beaming at Becky. "Look at my beautiful daughter, glowing with her first baby." "I'm her daughter too," I thought, but didn't say. "Still single, sweetheart?" Becky asked with that condescending smile, loud enough now that nearby conversations paused. "No special someone hiding in that big city." Mom laughed, placing her hand on Becky's shoulder. "Becky's having her first baby. You should be taking notes, Carol. This could be someday if you prioritize the right things." I stayed quiet, the familiar weight of disappointment settling on my shoulders. Then I heard the doorbell ring, and despite everything, I smiled. The community center door opened as Megan was about to announce another game. Every head turned toward the entrance.